Translator, Ninth Editor. Fish Creek. When they reached the mountain's summit, the splendor of this place lay spread before their eyes. Halls and palaces all gleamed with a resplendent golden radiance, and the main hall's pillar was so thick that it would take 2 men wrapping their arms around it to encircle it. There were also countless golden god statues, and under those shining figures stood numerous barbarians. All of a sudden, one golden statue stirred, and Chinmu's heart gave a jolt. Only then did he understand these were not golden god statues at all, but great shamans. The great shamans of Roland's golden palace had in fact tempered their bodies into pure gold, casting off a golden light. Before the golden palace, beneath the towering mountain gate, those great shamans were like deities bathed in golden brilliance, solemn, imposing, and dignified. At their head stood an elder with golden hair and a golden body, tall and robust, clad in golden robes, scepter in hand, a feathered crown upon his head. He thundered in a resounding voice, "Marshal Khan, you have roamed free and untrammeled for so many years. Why have you come to deliver yourself to our gate today?" "Deliver to your gate is well said. Green Bull, set down the mountain gate." With a crash, the Green Bull set the mountain gate down, and Chancellor Bashan threw back his head and laughed loudly. "Grand Shaman, I've delivered the mountain gate. Most of these golden senior brothers seem to have been beaten by me before. When I blocked the gate for 100 days back then, I injured and killed many people. I couldn't hold back when fighting the strong ones, therefore I could only kill them while the weak ones had all survived in my hands. These weak ones are the ones present here." The instant those words fell, the whole mountain erupted into an uproar. The older generation's powerful practitioners of Roland's golden palace could no longer restrain their fury, and an oppressive, dreadful atmosphere saturated the air. Chancellor Bashan's sharp tongue had offended every expert of Roland's golden palace in a single breath, provoking the wrath of the crowd. Coupled with the fact that he had hauled the mountain gate up the mountain, it would be impossible for them to let this matter end easily. A great shaman, Facegrave, sneered. His voice rang like metal striking stone. "Our injuries healed long ago. Over these years, our golden palace has honed our strength, and we have longed to exchange blows with Marshal Khan once more, to wash away our shame." Chancellor Bashan smiled. "You'll have the chance. However, this time I'm here to block the gate and not to beat you to death." He led Chinmu and Ling Yuxiu forward to the gate of the Golden Palace. Lifting his head, he sized up this mountain gate and, recalling bygone days, sighed with bitter regret. "Back then I had followed Teacher to the bottom of this mountain gate and beat many people to death." The eyes of the great shamans, shining like gods, spewed fire as they fixed their stares on them. Chancellor Bashan glanced back, winked at Chinmu and Ling Yuxiu and said, "And now I'll leave this mountain gate to you two." Ling Yuxiu felt uneasy and murmured softly, "Teacher, the rules here seem to be different from eternal peace." Chancellor Bashan kept a smile and replied in a gentle voice, "Dao sect and Great Thunderclap Monastery coming to Imperial College to block the gate is merely to compete against us and doesn't concern life and death. After fighting, everyone is still polite and amiable. As for this place, everyone fights to the death. You can leave the opponent alive, but if you meet experts of the same level, you'll have to kill them, because it would be hard for you to go easy on them. Back then, I had met many experts who were on the same level as me, and that's why many people had died." Ling Yuxiu's scalp went numb. Chinmu too steadied himself and drew a long breath. At last, it was the rule of the Great Ruins. The Great Ruins followed the same rule. Grand Shaman strode over and came to the foot of the Golden Mountain Gate. His gaze settled on Chinmu and Ling Yuxiu, his words neither hurried nor slow. "We follow the previous rule for blocking the gate, fighting regardless of life and death. Beyond that, I must also reclaim the title of Marshal Khan, regardless of life and death." Chancellor Bashan's expression remained unchanged, and he stated clearly, "Everyone, their cultivation is at 5 Elements realm. We understand the rules of blocking the gate." Grand Shaman's face showed no emotion as he knocked his scepter and commanded, "Listen up, disciples of the Golden Palace. Compete with them at 5 Elements realm and fight regardless of life and death. Whoever dares to go past 5 Elements realm, I'll take your life." His voice was not loud, yet it spread across the entire mountain. After saying this, Grand Shaman immediately turned his eyes to Chancellor Barshan and smiled. Marshal Khan, back then, Heaven Khan brought you to our Golden Palace to block our gate. Heaven Khan's remarkable abilities were boundless and naturally commanded respect. However, you are not Heaven Khan. Chancellor Barshan's expression darkened as he stepped through the mountain gate, and his voice pierced directly into Qinmu and Ling Yushu's minds. Junior brother, princess, don't worry. As long as they don't kill me, they will still challenge you according to the rules. If I'm killed by them, then you two will be in danger. Qinmu and Ling Yushu's hearts trembled. Their safety hinged on Chancellor Barshan's life. If Chancellor Barshan were stripped of the title of Marshal Khan and disposed of, and Qinmu and Ling Yushu were killed as well, no news would leak out. In that way, Roland's Golden Palace's reputation would suffer no harm, and the outside world would never learn of this challenge. All the Prairie's strong practitioners were under the rule of Roland's Golden Palace, and as long as Roland's Golden Palace gave the order, they would certainly keep silent. If they allowed Chancellor Barshan to leave Roland's Golden Palace alive, this matter would surely be spread by Barshan's loud mouth. Not only would the entire Prairie know, even the whole world would learn of it. Chancellor Barshan absolutely possessed that capability. When that happened, Roland's Golden Palace's reputation would be utterly ruined. Therefore, before Chancellor Barshan died, Roland's Golden Palace would definitely not gang up on Qinmu and Ling Yushu, but would settle this matter according to the rules. Old Master, don't get beaten to death, the Green Bull shouted loudly. Chancellor Barshan staggered, then turned his back in anger. We'll be having beef after we go back. At once the Green Bull shrank its head back. Two youths with daring guts. Do you know you're blocking the gate of a sacred ground? A voice suddenly rose from behind Qinmu. Qinmu and Ling Yushu straightened and looked down the mountain, only to see numerous strange-looking shamans climbing up to bar the path leading upward. One shaman stepped forward. A faint golden glow seeped from his body. Horns grew from his head, wings spread from his back, and a beak protruded from his mouth. Such a cultivation method, turning oneself into something non-human, was indeed rarely seen. Senior brother, Qinmu and Ling Yushu greeted, yet that Golden Palace shaman did not return the greeting, instead booming, "Etiquette belongs to your Eternal Peace Empire. Our Roland's Golden Palace has no such excess rules. After killing both of you, I'll absorb your souls to cultivate my divine arts. People like you are far stronger than those slaves, and your souls are incomparably tenacious. It couldn't be better to use them to cultivate my divine arts." Qinmu's gaze flickered. "Sister, let me go first. I'll test their techniques and divine arts." Ling Yushu nodded. Though her abilities had improved rapidly along the journey, there remained a gap between her and Qinmu. Not knowing a shaman's ins and outs could easily put them at a disadvantage in battle. Qinmu exhaled a turbid breath and said solemnly, "Green Bull, bring my backpack over." The Green Bull stepped forward and removed the backpack from its back. Qinmu first set the knife sheaths across his back, crisscrossing the two pig-slaughtering knives. Then he strapped the sword case behind those sheaths, hung the big iron hammer, tucked in a bamboo cane, and wore the junior protector sword at his waist. The Green Bull let murderous intent leak out and asked, "I've heard you had herded cows in the past. If you can't even beat me, can you beat them?" Qinmu stretched, bones crackling through his frame, and replied indifferently, "I'm an overlord body." The Green Bull shouted, "My old master has never been defeated under this Golden Palace." Qinmu remained unconcerned. "I'm a natural-born overlord body. In the whole world, no one can win me in the same realm." That bird-wing shaman produced two golden pestles. His eyes glittered as he laughed. "What bullshit is an overlord body? I've never heard it before." Qinmu drove his vital qi with the overlord body 3 elixir technique, sending it roaring through his channels at explosive speed, spreading across his entire body in the span of a heartbeat. "I, overlord body!" He lifted his foot, and a deep footprint sank into the golden floor beneath it. Boom! His whole body shot toward the bird-wing shaman so fast that others could only catch a string of after-images. "The matchless overlord body!" The Birdwing shaman's expression changed drastically, and he hurriedly beat his wings. Yet, before he could rise into the air, Chinmu's fist was already smashing down. With dragon roars shaking the air, his pupils suddenly constricted, for what he saw was not a fist, but a ferocious dragon's head. In the next instant, he saw 2 dragon heads, then 3, then 4. He flapped his wings, trying to evade, but it was already too late. In desperation, he could only thrust the golden pestles up to block in front of him. The 2 golden pestles bent in an instant, and Chinmu's punch smashed the 2 spirit weapons into something as thin as paper, as though they were made of mud. Whoosh! The Birdwing shaman shot into the sky and, with a bang, exploded into a blood fog. From within that blood fog came dragon roars, and the blood mist transformed into 45 ferocious dragons. It was as if those 45 blood dragons, and not Chinmu's fist, had blown the Birdwing shaman into pieces. Meanwhile, atop the golden stage before the mountain gate, Chinmu abruptly settled from that incomparably violent motion. His raging vital chi likewise quieted in a breath, and his face became serene. Green Bull, your old master need 100 days to defeat Roland's golden palace. Chinmu turned and swept the shamans below the golden stage with a cold gaze. And I only need a day. Standing beneath the gate, his voice rumbled like thunder and echoed across all of Roland's golden palace. I just need 1 day, and I can crush the spirit of all the disciples of Roland's golden palace, crumble all their pride and step their dignity under my feet. Presumptuous! A shaman erupted in rage and charged madly at Chinmu. As he ran, his body completed a full transformation. Scalp and skin scattered in all directions, and an elephant's head grew out. He became taller and more muscular, shredding the shirt on his body into pieces, while his limbs thickened like an elephant's legs. A golden glow emanated from his elephant head and his human body, as though he were a god revived through sacrifice, brimming with boundless power. His cultivation and ability were clearly far stronger than the Birdwing shaman's. That Birdwing shaman's body had not yet turned golden, while this one's body seemed cast from gold. Boom! A cauldron-like fist smashed toward Chinmu. The air shuddered under the blow, thunderclaps bursting forth, pure white rings of air exploding outward in all directions. Behind Chinmu, Hu Ling's snow-white fur streamed backward in the gale, along with Ling Yushu's beautiful hair. Die! The elephant head shaman bellowed. Chinmu sprang aside, avoiding that incomparably tyrannical punch, and with knives in both hands, he rushed in close to the elephant shaman. Knife lights flaring, raising the knife from forbidden. Chinmu rose into the air and somersaulted backward. When he landed, he slid both knives back into their sheaths. At the same moment, the elephant head shaman's huge body split cleanly into 2 halves and tumbled down the mountain, staining the golden staircase red. A shaman's eyes turned crimson with fury. He suddenly yanked out a black banner and rushed Chinmu, shouting sternly, "I'm going to refine your soul. Die!" Chinmu used the heavenly devil nature technique to seal his souls and spirits. Raising a hand with a single finger, the sword case on his back sprang open, and a flying sword let out a piercing screech as it shot through the shaman's brow and pierced his heart. Chinmu flicked his finger upward, and the flying sword whooshed back, returning to his sword case, trailing a streak of bloodlight. Translate Ninetails! Editor, Fish Creek, kill! A female shaman, whose visage bore the head of a leopard and whose body trailed a leopard's tail, lifted a bronze mirror high, angling it toward Chinmu. Within that mirror, malevolent souls writhed and surfaced, their resentful forms flickering like ghostly flames. Ding! A flying sword flashed forth without warning, appearing before the mirror and thrusting to pierce it. Yet the mirror's surface was incomparably firm, hard as divine metal, and it blocked the flying sword outright. In the next breath, however, the sword spun violently, transforming into drill sword form, its tip spiraling with terrifying force as it bored into the bronze mirror. Sword light erupted, shattering the mirror into fragments and driving straight through the female shaman's body. What's so frightening about shaman poison? Chinmu's robes fluttered wildly in the wind as he raised a hand and beckoned, recalling his sword. At that instant, another shaman sprouted tiger fur, claws and a tail, lunging forward with savage force. A gale howled around him as he pounced, denying Chinmu any chance to draw his blade. Chinmu struck out sideways with a punch. The two figures moved in erratic arcs, their silhouettes colliding again and again, producing a ceaseless thunder of impacts. The shaman shook his head. A tiger's head burst forth, and from its jaws erupted a thunderous roar that reverberated continuously, assaulting Chinmu's souls and spirits. Chinmu formed a mudra with his fists and unleashed sunshine-refining Yang Soul in the sky. His 5 fingers spread wide as he followed with Heavenly Devil Freedom Mudra. Fist and palm shifted without pause. Alternating between the righteous path of Buddha and the sinister path of Devil, the tiger's roar resounded but 3 times before the shaman's souls and spirits were smashed to pieces, his body crumpled to the ground. Another great shaman of 6 Directions realm suddenly leapt forth. His cultivation surpassed the previous foes, and he could wield divine arts with ease while retaining the appearance of an ordinary man. Though he had sealed his 6 Directions divine treasure, the moment he executed his art, he transformed into a violent ape. In his grasp was a golden club as thick as a pillar. With boundless strength he could sweep through 1,000 troops, yet his movements were swift and nimble. Chinmu extended his hand and drew forth his bamboo cane, meeting the golden club head-on. Cane and club collided like lightning striking iron. Suddenly the golden club halted mid-swing. Astonishment flooded the shaman's face as the cane lightly tapped his chest. Yet he was a great shaman of 6 Directions realm, not a mere shaman. In that instant he unsealed his 6 Directions divine treasure. But at the very moment the divine treasure opened, the bamboo cane pierced his heart, his corpse fell heavily upon the ground. Chinmu withdrew the bamboo cane from the corpse's heart. In eternal peace, great shamans of 6 Directions realm were called divine arts practitioners. The distinction lay only in name. In truth, there was little difference between them. Had this divine arts practitioner not sealed his 6 Directions divine treasure, slaying him would have proven difficult. Yet, so long as they stood within the same realm, Chinmu possessed the means to kill, whether 6 Directions realm or 7 Stars realm. Dong, a golden strongman, suddenly vaulted onto the golden stage, landing with a heavy crash. On his back rested a knife sheath more than 1.5 times the height of a man. He roared at Chinmu, and knife lights burst from the sheath, filling the sky with cascading shadows that crashed down upon him. Simultaneously, the strongman wielded blades in both hands, slashing toward Chinmu. The twin knives alternated forward and back, like 2 colossal pythons coiling and rolling as they struck. Chinmu gripped one pig-slaughtering knife normally and the other in reverse. From the sword case upon his back, flying swords shot forth to meet the descending knife lights. Every cloud has a silver lining. One body large, one small. The golden strongman towered half a body above Chinmu. As they clashed, 2 blade lights emerged. One horizontal, one vertical. The horizontal light became a mountain barring the way. The vertical light became the blade that cleaved the mountain. Blood-red knife radiance soared skyward like a giant swinging his blades to carve a path through a cliff. The golden strongman's body split into 4 pieces, slain by the crossing vertical and horizontal lights. Chinmu flicked his knife, shaking blood from its edge. Holding both blades in reverse grip, he sheathed them. Then he raised a finger. A flying sword shot from its sheath and pierced straight through the brown heart of a shaman who had been drawing a bow at him. "Kill him and avenge our senior and junior brothers!" Shamans still surged forward. Chinmu evaded, twisting his waist to deliver a back kick. Knife, sword, fists, and legs flowed together as one. Each shaman who stepped forward to challenge him fell beneath his hand. After a time, silence settled over the battlefield. Before the mountain gate of Roland's golden palace, more than 40 corpses lay strewn across the golden steps. Chinmu cast his gaze downward from the stage. Below stood faces pale with terror and eyes filled with dread. Whenever their gazes met his, they flinched and looked away, not daring to hold his stare. These shamans possessed firm wills. Yet after Chinmu had slain over 40 in succession, their spirit and resolve had inevitably weakened. Once weakened, it would grow into fear, the fear of being unable to defeat him, the fear that would compel them to revere him. All that Chinmu had witnessed along the way had kindled resentment in his heart toward Roland's golden palace. When General Torimu had commanded soldiers to gather the souls of the rebel army as offerings to the palace, Chinmu had been puzzled. Now he understood. Roland's golden palace cultivated by consuming souls. He had come to reclaim Butcher's lower body, not merely to block their gate. Since enmity had already been forged, he would shatter this sect's spirit and will, crush their confidence to dust, and trample their techniques and skills beneath his feet. He would show them that divine arts forged from human souls were worthless. Which among you has cultivated Grand Shaman Ruda scriptures? Chinmu swept his cold gaze around, a faint smile curled upon his lips. Step forth, I would like to kill one. Silence blanketed the mountain gate. Within Roland's golden palace, the gold-hued great shaman's faces darkened. After a moment, a youth stepped forward. A middle-aged great shaman said gravely, "Simuro, his weakness lies at the second part of his left shoulder blade. It is the flaw in his technique, the place he could not refine." The young great shaman replied solemnly, "I had sensed it, but could not determine the precise point. Shaman King, my thanks for the guidance." Chancellor Barshan's expression sank as he sneered. "Shaman King, is it not somewhat despicable for a senior to act thus?" "Marshal Khan, please!" The middle-aged great shaman feigned ignorance and lifted his hand. "In years past, I was defeated by you. I reflected upon that humiliation, and my cultivation soared in recent years. I have longed to erase that shame. Heaven must have taken pity, sending you back at last." Chancellor Barshan soared into the air, radiance bursting from him like a massive blade 300 yards long. Capable of splitting heaven itself, he moved far into the distance, his voice drifting back. "Their cultivations are too low. The shockwaves of our clash would kill them. Let us battle upon the snow mountains." The middle-aged great shaman looked toward the one who had risen. "Go!" Swoosh, rays of golden light tore through the sky, chasing after the blade light that shot toward the snow mountains. Amid majestic peaks and boundless snow, golden radiance erupted, melting white drifts in its wake. Within that brilliance, snow-white blade lights flickered, the sight of a world-shaking duel. By the time the echoes reached Roland's golden palace, only faint ripples remained. Before the mountain gate, Chinmu turned to face Simuro descending from the sacred hall. Chancellor Barshan had lured away most of the palace's experts, easing Chinmu's path to recover Butcher's lower half. Yet a few senior masters still lingered before the sacred hall. Simuro's expression was grave, though excitement glimmered faintly in his eyes. His body gleamed gold. As Chinmu battled the shamans, Simuro had watched in silence. He had not stepped forward immediately, both to discern Chinmu's weakness and to allow the others to exhaust him, increasing his own odds of victory. Now he had found the flaw, and Chinmu had fought over 40 consecutive battles. The moment had arrived. Chinmu's expression was like an ancient well without ripple. He stood calmly, as if he had not just endured more than 40 fierce clashes. Suddenly, both figures moved at once. Vital chi exploded beneath Chinmu's feet, propelling him forward at astonishing speed. In an instant, he was before Simuro, unleashing a punch, spring thunder, on the lonely East Sea. Simuro received the blow. A great bell's toll resounded from within his body. Chinmu felt his fist force, like a river surging into the sea, strike a wall of bronze and iron, unable to transmit even a trace of power through. It was as if Simuro's body had been forged from the hardest metal, incomparably solid. Simuro swayed and transformed. A bird's head and wings sprouted from his form. The wings upon his back blazed with golden brilliance, composed of countless golden swords. The swords hummed and sliced forward. Chinmu retreated and evaded. Flying swords shot from his sword case to meet the sword feathers sweeping toward him. Then he noticed something amiss. Between each sword-shaped feather, vital chi threads connected them. His heart jolted. He knew danger was upon him. Whoosh! The sword wings exploded apart. Golden blades burst outward from every direction, stabbing toward Chinmu. Upon each golden sword was a pitch-black eyeball that rolled eerily. Within every blade, a spirit had been sealed, becoming its sword spirit. Chinmu's gaze met those eyes. Dizziness washed over him. Realizing the peril, he shut his eyes instantly and drew his knives. Midnight battle across stormy cities. Knife-light whirled swiftly about him, forming an unbroken barrier that deflected the golden swords. The phrase midnight battle signified that sight was unnecessary. Simuro's swords were insidious. To look upon them was to fall into his snare. Using this move was the correct choice. Grand Shaman Ruda scriptures is truly extraordinary, demonic indeed. As Chinmu's knives clashed with the golden swords, he sensed that their power was inferior to his. The battle technique school's strength lay in weapons that could unleash one's full force. Simuro's swords were forced back by midnight battle, across stormy cities, returning to his side and reforming into wings. With a sweep, he blocked the sharp swords Chinmu had launched from his sword case. Suddenly, Chinmu released both knives and punched forth. His fist shone like a blazing sun, illuminating the Yang soul. Bathed in the radiance, Simuro's mind wavered slightly, yet his movements did not falter. The eyes upon his sword snapped shut under the piercing sunlight, wailing as they dissolved into green smoke. With his other hand, Chinmu formed Freedom Mudra. Simuro remained unmoved. Grand Shaman Ruda scriptures refined others' souls as nourishment, tempering his own souls to incomparable stability. His body was equally tough. Even Thunderclap 8 strikes could not shake him. A faint frown creased Chinmu's brow. Suddenly he pointed. 36 swords flew from the sword case, merging into drill sword form as they stabbed towards Simuro.